All right, welcome to this week's Points and Miles report on traveling on everyday spend. It's the end of the month and the news has still not slowed down. I'm happy to have you here to share this information and appreciate you sharing your time with me. So let's jump right on in. As far as the agenda for tonight, we are going to definitely obviously cover the credit card offers that are ending soon, transfer bonuses, as well as some points and miles opportunities. Then we're going to talk about the JetBlue status match that's been going on for a while, but now they've added 3 more airlines into it. So it's time to talk about it to see if there may be an opportunity for anyone to be able to look at matching this to JetBlue. Then we're going to talk about Newark again. We talked about Newark and its lounges last week, but now we're going to talk about a United semi-secret restaurant that is no longer, and we need to talk about what that was and what it's going to be. Then we're going to talk about new airline refund rules that are now in effect that are for U.S. citizens that seem to provide some very good benefits, but there's a few different notes that you got to pay attention to so that you don't end up taking yourself out of being eligible for it. And we're going to talk about those. Then we're going to talk about the Park Hyatt Cabo that's going to be opening in August of 2025, but they've already opened up reservations for there and they're opening during the off-peak. But let's talk about a little bit about that hotel and being careful about trying to jump in too fast. Then we've got American Airlines and Fiji Airlines with their chart going dynamic. So we're going to talk about what that is now meant with some of the points values for American Airlines and also why that's the case. Then we're going to move to Sonder by Marriott. And this is yet another branch of Marriott that is going to be dealing with essentially competitors to Airbnb. But knowing the story about Sonder is going to be helpful to really kind of know what this may or may not end up becoming. Then we're going to jump into some of these changes that are going on going into 2025 and a little bit now. So we've got the 2025, we got choice privilege changes that we need to talk about, as well as United MileagePlus and their 2025 changes, and then Virgin going dynamic pricing, which started yesterday. And we are already seeing that there may be some pluses to this, at least for the moment. And I'll provide a couple of examples for you and we'll talk about it. So I look forward to walking through with this. I want to say thanks for stopping through, Mr. Cool. Always appreciate you stopping through. John R., a credit card creator, as I call the Prince of Iceland, unfortunately was not able, had to postpone his trip and did a really good video on that. So I appreciate you stopping in. And then Fashion Forward, thanks for stopping in. Really appreciate you taking your time to stop in. So let's take a look at these credit card offers that are ending soon. We've got the American Express Gold Card, which obviously did its new promotion after the White Gold Card came out. And that is going to be ending shortly in November, on November 6th, with 100,000 points and 20% back in statement credits up to $100, $6,000 spend in the first 6 months. The American Express Platinum, I always make a note of it up here because of how high their points can be. And I've seen it as high as 175,000 points for $8,000 worth of spend in the first 6 months. Always make sure, as I always say, make sure to check your incognito, check your in private, because that's where you'll start seeing some other point value and opportunities to get to that number or maybe even beyond. Then we have the Hilton credit cards, the Honors at $0 annual fee, the Surpass, and the Aspire as far as the personal credit cards. These all run through January 8th of 2025. So there's plenty of time to kind of plan of if these cards kind of fit in for what you're looking for, and especially to be able to plan on when it might fit for you. Then we also have the Hilton Honors Business Card with 175,000 points for $8,000 worth of spend in the first 6 months. Same situation. We have all the way till January 8th for that. Then Bank of America, we've got Air France KLM with their best welcome offer ever still. It's with 70,000 miles and 100 extra points for $3,000 worth of spend in the first 90 days. Then, as we talked about last week, Alaska Airlines Personal Visa Card, which is a $95 annual fee. has a 60,000 bonus miles plus their companion fare that comes with it once you spend $3,000 worth of spend in the first 90 days. Normally, that companion pass comes at the end of the year once you've met a spend requirement. So getting that up front is really nice. And the other thing that's very good about it is that you can upgrade from the main cabin to first class with points, and it's relatively easy to do. Barclays, we still have those Wyndham rewards credit cards that are all still available at the higher numbers. I've talked about this because I definitely believe it is a forgotten type of point value for as wide as of swath that Wyndham has, from the hotels to the all-inclusive, and then of course Vacasa. Then, as far as Chase, we still have the Marriott Bonvoy Bold and Bonvoy Boundless cards with some elevated numbers at 60,000 points plus a free night on the Bold. It's their best offer ever, and that free night award is for 50,000 points, and that's just with $2,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. We got the Marriott Bonvoy Boundless, as I mentioned, 125,000 points for $5,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. And then if you're a Disney person, we still have those 2 Disney credit cards with increased credit values on the Premier and the regular Visa card. We've got the Avios credit cards of Aer Lingus, British Airways, and Iberia, all $95 annual fee cards, all have 85,000 points for $5,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. And then we have the Aeroplan card, where you can get up to 100,000 miles. Now, as I'm always mentioned with this, it's in 2 parts. 70,000, 5,000 miles for $4,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months, which is good. Then 25,000 miles additional if you have a total of $20,000 worth of spend in the first 12 months. Obviously, because Aeroplan is a transfer partner with Chase and others, there is a better way to spend that money if you're going to spend $20,000 in the first 12 months outside of that first 4,000 to really get more mileage out of being able to get Aeroplan miles or any other one. So I don't think too many people are going to be looking to shoot for the full 100. Then we got the Chase Sapphire Preferred, which has the 60,000 points plus that $300 Chase travel bonus. Now they're reporting that's going to be ending soon. We don't necessarily have a date for that, but it is going to be ending soon. So keep that in mind if there's a place that you are looking to put this into your portfolio of having that Chase Sapphire Preferred. Then we have the IHG One Rewards Traveler Card. Now, this one is a no annual fee credit card, and it's been elevated to 100,000 IHG points for just $2,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. Now, I'm a huge proponent of the IHG One Premier credit card and did a video on it, which I'll put a link in for the description. And I think that is a powerful card at less than $100. But if you are not a person that thinks they want to go that far, then this may be a really nice option to go for no annual fee and start off with that 100,000 points. Then we have the Ink Unlimited, which is a business card, no annual fee. It ends on November 7th. So that is going to be, once again, fast approaching. 90,000 points for $6,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. As I make sure to tell everybody, if you have any interest in looking at a business card, keep in mind that you don't need to have a profitable business to get business cards. When I got my first business card, I did not have a business. I had a vision of what it was going to be. And it was mainly based upon me having a thought of what I wanted to do, as well as having the credit score that could get you there. And you can go from there. So don't get intimidated by business cards, but I understand it's not for everyone. Then we have the World of Hyatt personal credit card, which I saw is supposedly ending today. Now, this is the $95 annual fee. And for the signing bonus or welcome bonus, you're going to get 5 free nights for $4,000 worth of spend in the first 3 months. And those 5 free nights certificates are category 1 to 4. And it doesn't matter if it is peak time or off peak or normal. But as with any of these certificates that you get, make sure you have a plan to use them within 1 year, because that is the time period you have. But it could get you an excellent vacation. There's a lot of different opportunities, especially going to category 4, well within the United States or international. And then lastly, we have Citi with the Advantage Business Platinum Card with a limited time offer at 75,000 miles for $5,000 worth of spend in the first 5 months. And then, of course, the Citi Strata Premier, which we always end up seeing. We might as well just call it permanent, even though Citi does not want to say that yet. And then as far as transfer bonuses, we always kind of wind down on transfer bonuses at the end of each month. And we're kind of seeing some of that here. And we still have the Flying Blue KLM 20% transfer bonus on Amex through November 10th. And then for Chase, we are seeing that the British Airways, Iberia, and Aer Lingus 30% Avios transfers in this today here on October 31st. But you'll still have the Marriott at 50% through the 15th of November, and Virgin through November 30th at 40%. Then as far as Citi, we've got Etihad, which is the global bonus, which does end today, and this is directly through Etihad where you're going to be doing this. So it's dealing with Citi, but you do it directly through Etihad. I'll have a link in the description for it, but once again, today is the last day for that. And then Qatar also has one through October 31st. I still listed, although I've just have not been able to, the links that I've seen and was able to use, I've not been able to get back on it. And I've not seen anyone else, any of the bloggers that have kind of had one. So I still continue to look for it, but that ends tonight anyway, though. And then Citi has Virgin Atlantic at 30% through November 16th. And as this was a note that I mentioned as far as dynamic pricing is coming in November, but it actually started yesterday, and we're going to talk about that in one of the topics. And then 20% Wyndham through November 16th will be available. So as far as points and miles opportunities, there's a few of them. We have Accor Live Limitless, where the registration is required by December 31st. I'll have the link in the description for that. And that is for booking stays before December 31st, where you can get 3x on your points on stays in North and Central America at hotels like the Fairmont, Sofitel, Swissôtel, Novotel, as well as a few others. Stay at any participating hotels before January 31st. So book the stays before then, but you can end up being at the hotel through January 31st. And then we have Air Canada with a transfer bonus, purchase bonus through November 18th, and you can get up to 30% bonus discount as far as buying points through Air Canada, and that is for 100,000 points and over. The max points on any transaction is 250,000 points. And then Amtrak ends tonight, and that was one that we brought up last week, where it was talking about having a free companion on a flash sale for roomettes. That can save you anywhere from $200 to $900, depending upon route and distance. But the travel must take place between November of 2024 and January of 2025. So I'll have a link for that as well if you have interest in it. And then we have Choice Hotels, which is stay 2 consecutive nights and earn 8,000 bonus points. It's a nice offer. I've always thought of Choice as kind of the workhorse type of thing. When I did another job, I was traveling all over the state and constantly stayed at Choice Hotels. So you have that as an opportunity. They're not valid on reward nights, so this is for paying to utilize to get that bonus. And then Copa Airlines has up to 50% bonus, but you must book by November 8th. I'll have a link for that as well, where you get certain discounts based upon purchasing miles from them. And one of the examples was US to Panama, 15,000 points economy, 20,000 points business as an example. And then lastly, we have IHG with an up to 80% bonus. You have to log into your account to see what your percentage is. Of course, mine is not 80%. I think mine was 40%. I never seem to top out on any of these. Deadline is November 1st. Max purchase annually is 150,000 points, so make sure to keep that in mind. And let's see, please share the Amtrak info. Oh, okay, yeah, I will definitely have that Amtrak info. In fact, I think it might actually already be in the description. I put a few links in there, but I will make sure to have that in there as soon as it's over. If it's not, I definitely will do that. But thanks for asking about that. So let's talk about the JetBlue status match. Now, this is one that has been going on for a bit of time, but they've now added a few more airlines that we have to talk about. So JetBlue began offering this status match back in August for a number of airlines, but they just ended up adding Frontier, Southwest, and Spirit to the list. Now, upon the initial match, you will receive Mosaic 1 or 2 for 3 months. And there's currently no end date on this program, so they definitely are looking to get people to try out their loyalty program. So let me just run through a few things for if you're not as familiar with JetBlue's program. So for Mosaic 1, if you have Alaska Airlines status, MVP and MVP Gold will match to Mosaic 1. American Airlines Gold and Platinum will match to Mosaic 1. Delta is Silver and Gold. Frontier is Elite Gold, Platinum, and Diamond. Southwest is A-List and A-List Preferred. Spirit is Gold. United is Premier Silver and Gold. Now, what you need to do is you need to accumulate 10 tiles, and that's how JetBlue deals with their loyalty credit program. You need to get 10 tiles to extend that initial 3 months. Now, with what Mosaic 1 has, you'll get priority boarding, you'll get priority security where it's available, you'll get same-day switches with no fee or fare difference starting 24 hours before the departure. You get 2 checked bags, which can save you a good amount of money. You'll also get even more space seats at check-in at no extra cost. You'll get up to 3 alcoholic drinks per flight, and you'll get a perks you pick benefit of mint suite selection on applicable flights, of course. So that is for Mosaic 1. When it comes to Mosaic 2, for Alaska Airlines, if you have the MVP Gold 75K and 100K, the American Airlines Platinum Pro, Executive Platinum, and Concierge Key, the Delta Platinum Diamond, Platinum, Diamond, and Delta 360. United is Premier Platinum, Premier 1K, and Global Services. You need 25 tiles needed to extend through 2025. This is normally actually 100 tiles in the normal way that it works. So you can see a high discount to be able to get that status through 2025 compared to maintaining it when it's not under this program. Now, as far as the benefits, you get the same as Mosaic 1, but what you'll also get is that select even more seat. You can get that at no cost at booking, not at check-in. So that additional time is a benefit. And then the interesting one is that they have a specific perks you pick benefit of a pet fee waiver. So it allows you to travel with a small cat or dog at no extra cost. Why they pick that one versus others, I don't have a good answer. Now, as a few thoughts. If you somehow were going to earn 40 tiles in the first 3 months instead of the 10 and the 25, you will jump to Mosaic 3 level through 2025, which normally would cost you 150 tiles. Now, Mosaic 3 offers you 4 certificates to upgrade to Mint Business Class at no additional cost. Now, as far as what a tile is worth, one tile is $100 spent on JetBlue flights, vacation, and Paisley by JetBlue. And it's also one tile for every $1,000 you spend on JetBlue credit cards. So you have multiple options. So if you've ever had an interest, this may be something that can work for you, especially if you got some flights or some spend, and this means something to you that you might be able to fly. I've not had the opportunity to fly JetBlue yet. Hopefully next year that'll be an opportunity. So now we go to Newark. Now, I talked a lot about Newark and its lounges and some different changes that were going on last week. I'll have the link for the last week's live stream on there. If you're a person that goes through Newark a lot, they really have a lot of things going on with their lounges. But this one is related to a United invite-only restaurant that is now closing. So let's talk about that. So this was a semi-secret invitation-only restaurant in Terminal C. As of October 30th, yesterday, dining service at Classified is what it was called, and it was located in Saison Restaurant. That unit has now closed. It was a 36-seat fine restaurant that reopened in 2022 after a 2.5-year closure due to the pandemic. Now, Saison is next to the Polaris Lounge, and so they're going to close that and expand the Polaris Lounge. And so that's what's making it an excellent location because they have it right there. Now, Classified, what I've read about it, never went there, was an excellent concept because it was of exclusivity, and everybody likes a little bit of that. But the problem was you still had to pay. You actually paid for your meal that you got the benefit of attending, which didn't make a lot of sense and seemed to be a big detractor. So the space will be used to add a large dining area and making additional enhancements, they've called it. They've not said what that means yet, though. They said it should add 60 seats to the Polaris Lounge there and bring their total capacity to 500. And they expect that the expansion is going to be opened as early as in early 2025. So once again, if you're a person that goes through Newark, might be an opportunity for you to stop by the Polaris Lounge if it works and see what that expansion has looked like. And so now let's talk about the new airline refund rules that are now in effect that really could mean something to everybody who goes through some different things. And a lot of us normally look at our credit cards to kind of help us out with that. But this is an interesting law that I had heard a little bit about, but didn't know much about it. So as of October 28th, earlier this week, 3 new rules from the Department of Transportation that entitles U.S. travelers to refunds with canceled or significantly delayed flights. Now, I want to make sure, keep in mind, if you accept an airline's offer to rebook a later flight, then this rule will not apply to you and you lose what this rule is supposed to provide. So if you look at doing that at any time going forward, make sure it's the right decision for you. So the rules require airlines to automatically refund passengers when their flights are canceled or significantly changed, checked bags are significantly delayed. Airlines don't provide extra services as purchased. So as far as the checked bag fee refund eligibility, if your luggage is not delivered within 12 hours, if it's a domestic flight, in 15 to 30 hours, if it's an international arrival, that will trigger the baggage aspect. So what does significant change mean? So here's a few examples. If you have a domestic itinerary that's pushed back 3+ hours, if you have an international itinerary that's pushed back 6+ hours, if your origin or destination is altered, if you end up with more connections, and if you've been downgraded as a traveler to a lower class, all of those will be something that could trigger this rule in refund. So once again, make sure if you, obviously it's going to be a tough decision for some to not accept an airline offer to rebook, but that is something that you might now have to look at. So I'll have that more information in the description if you want to read more up on it, but that's kind of the basics of these refund rules that are now in effect. So how about the Park Hyatt Cabo? This is opening in August, but it is already available to make reservations beginning August 21st of 2025. Now, you can get off-peak pricing at 35,000 points through October. Cash rates in August are right now starting at $765. The biggest thing to be careful if you're trying to get in there early with that off-peak time wave cost there, especially in August, it's a new hotel. They have a projected time that it's going to open, but you don't know for sure if it is. And 2, it is going to be super hot down in Los Cabos at that point. So factor that in with looking at getting an off-peak rate. Now, as far as the hotel, it sounds great. This features 162 rooms in 35 residences. The entry-level rooms start at 649 square feet with 186 square feet of patio, and it includes soaking tub, walk-in shower, and a 55-inch TV. The entry-level suites will be 945 square feet and have a 456 square foot patio with plunge pool. There's going to be 5 restaurants and bars there, 5 pools, including a beachfront with an ocean view, and a 59,000 square foot fitness and wellness center. I've definitely seen where Hyatt, on especially on these new constructions, and all inclusives as well, and some of them, the upper end ones, have really focused on their fitness and wellness center on size to really provide a lot of opportunity. Now, the hotel is on a 26-acre property that will be shared with the new Four Seasons Cabo San Lucas at Cabo del Sol. This is one of 3 new Park Hyatts that are going to open up in Mexico in 2025. It'll be the Park Hyatt Cancun and Mexico City are the other 2. Now, redeeming points could save you up to 36% on the normal total room rate if you were paying cash. So it could be an excellent value. I am a super fan of Hyatt and what you can get as far as mileage out of those points. I've mentioned before that my stay at the Park Hyatt in Sydney during Christmas and during New Year's this year is one that is at, I'm getting 9 points per point, but that is super inflated for Australia for how much it costs to get a room down there for cash, and there's such limited space. So I'm a true fan of it, of those Hyatt points and what you can get out of those. So hopefully that'll be helpful to people. And let's see what Mr. Who said. Question: could the airlines game you by overselling tickets and automatically refund you since you purchased tickets at a lower price way in advance? I think there's always an ability to game the system. I think we've talked about it a lot of times where the government thinks they've done something to crack down on resort fees or baggage fees or seats for families. There's always going to be a way for an airline to get that money back by a small increase here and there. I don't know if we'll see too much of that. I think that probably a lot of people won't really pay attention to this refund because when you're traveling, in a lot of cases, you normally find yourself where you just want to get there. I had a flight to New York that I missed a connection in JFK. I actually had to stay at JFK for 7 hours until the next flight. If they could have booked me on something right away, then I would have done it and foregone the refund because I just want to get there. A lot of people aren't. I'm definitely not one that's flexible that way if I got a chance to book a later flight. So I think there's always a way to game the system, and they'll definitely keep an eye on how things go for them and where this may trigger, but they will always look to game the system. But I just think that most passengers are going to take that later booking to go ahead and get to their destination because we all got limited time. But it's a good question, and I think that all things are on the table anytime that you're dealing with a for-profit company. Thanks for the question. That was good. So how about American Airlines and Fiji Airlines with the chart going dynamic? So American Airlines obviously has historically, I say obviously, has historically had a Saver Award chart that dealt with Fiji Airlines, where regularly it charged 40,000 miles on Saver Awards in economy and 80,000 miles in business when you're flying from the US to the South Pacific. This is now changed to a dynamic structure. So if you look at some of the numbers, you're seeing where awards are as high as 67,000 points in economy and 267,000 points in business. The simple reason of why is Fiji is about to become a member of One World, but more importantly, I think we've mentioned this before, Fiji is going to use the American Air Advantage loyalty program as their program. So because of that, they're going to be dynamic just like American is. So unfortunately, we see that set points for those Super Saver or for those Saver Awards going away, but it's not surprising knowing that they're adopting American Advantage loyalty program as their own. And see, Tim McDonald says they will still probably have bump offers for cash and miles which are usually a sweet deal. You're right. I think at this point, so many of these airlines need to still try to keep people somewhat happy. It's so competitive. We've talked about how especially for the lower um, cost airlines, they have Spirits, the Frontiers, the Southwest are really struggling right now, and it's competitive enough between the big 4 or 5 airlines. So I think that makes perfect sense. I've unfortunately never had an opportunity to get a bump. I've always been willing to get it because I've seen where some people have gotten some excellent deals. I just have not had that opportunity. So if you've had that, Tim, congratulations to you. So now let's move to Sonder by Marriott. So when it comes to Sonder, they primarily offer urban-based apartments in North America, Europe, and the Middle East. Now, Marriott recently announced a licensing agreement with Sonder. You'll be able to earn and redeem Bonvoy points with them. Now, under this license agreement, they're expected to add 9,000 units with another 1,500 in the pipeline. Sonder hotels, which I'm not sure enough about where they're located, but they would be 10 x per dollar on your earnings, and the Sonder apartments would be 5x. At this time, you would need to reserve these through Sonder's call center, and I've got the phone number down there. It's not been integrated into Marriott's website, but you can do the booking. Don't expect a whole lot as far as redemption of points, though. That's at least at this point, it's pretty early in the game. Now, Marriott already has Homes and Villas by Marriott Bonvoy, as well as Apartments by Marriott Bonvoy and Marriott Executive Apartments. Now, as far as the why with Sonder, Sonder has been around for a little while, and they have basically been an Airbnb competitor. So why would they be looking at doing this? Well, companies don't do these licensing agreements unless there is some issues, and Sonder has a bunch of them. So as a private entity in 2021, they lost nearly 250 and $300 million respectively. Now they became public in 2022, but if those numbers weren't bad enough, what ended up happening earlier this year is that Sonder reported that its financial statements for 2022 and 2023 literally, quote, should no longer be relied upon. I I don't claim to know everything about business by any means. That is a scary phrase for a publicly traded company, and I don't even know if I've heard that anytime in the recent past. But just this last month, Sonder reported that in 2022, it actually lost $80 million more than it was previously reported now that they are going back through the books. So Sonder has a lot of problems as an Airbnb competitor, as well as Airbnb, because we've seen a lot of restrictions being done at multiple cities and communities around the country, here in the United States for sure. And normally we see it for 2 to 3 reasons. One is the communities have to be careful about having these Airbnbs and that type in local communities, residential areas, because you don't want to end up having people in that community being afraid of that much traffic coming in and out of people they don't know. That impacts tax base, etc. More importantly, though, is that these communities can't have Airbnb having such a foothold to compete against hotels and motels that are actually creating a tax base on that. So there's been a lot of pushback to requiring where these Airbnbs may be located, where you have to be registered, and that has really put a lot of that Airbnb level type of business out of business. And so that's why you're seeing Sonder kind of course, with the other financial issues, kind of move to this licensing agreement where Sonder still keeps the name because it is still active as an entity. So just a few thoughts in regards to that. So now let's look at 2025 choice privilege changes. Now, Choice has announced 3 changes that are going to be implemented in early 2025. Now, normally when you think about this, is this going to impact the cost? Is it going to be a devaluation? As of right now, we're not seeing a devaluation of this. The minimum cost of room rates will actually drop from 8,000 points to 6,000 points based upon one of these changes. and the maximum cost is not supposed to increase so far. So as far as the three changes we're seeing with Choice, one is they're going to now have a 50-week booking window. The current window is only 100 days. So that is a vast difference for what Choice has compared to what they're going to be able to provide. And that is only a plus. Then you're going to be able to redeem points for premium room types. Now, understanding the difference, currently you can book select premium rooms for the same number of points at some locations of their standard room. So with them actually opening this up to all the premium room types, you will obviously see some increased numbers, but that's not surprising. You may still see some premium rooms in some situations where it still follows this kind of where the points might be equal to a standard room at some locations. So more opportunity, but not necessarily any kind of devaluation we're going to see from that. And then lastly, we're going to see the reintroduction of Reward Saver. Now, this was specifically related to the Radisson Hotel, and that has now obviously been integrated into Choice Hotels. And with this tool, it provides discounts on rooms and will be marked as such when you look at it in their portal to be able to look at it. Now, these reward savers are going to be based upon almost dynamic situations, current room rates, property types, as a couple of the factors. And that's why we see that there'll be some cases where that normal 8,000 point room that we see actually could be a 6,000 point room. Now, these changes are more positive than bad from what I'm seeing so far. Now, although these changes are supposed to occur in early 2025, the spokesperson with Choice did talk to the points guy and said that some changes would be rolled out to a small set of properties this year. So if you're a person that ends up staying at Choice level hotels, make sure to keep an eye out for some of these changes and see if they may impact you and if you are part of that small set. And make sure to report back and let us know what you're finding out there. So now let's dive into the United MileagePlus 2025 changes, because there are a lot of changes for this, and it's going to make it difficult if people are hunting status for this. So when we talk about the elite requirements, the Premier Silver, we're seeing all of the elite requirements for all of the levels actually change. So for Premier Silver, you need to have 15 PQFs and 5,000 PQPs, or just 6,000 PQPs. Now that changed. All of those raised from 12 PQFs, 4K, 4,000 PQPs, and 5,000 PQPs. So I won't read through all of this, but what we're seeing is that the elite requirements for every level is somewhere between cumulatively 20 to 25% increase in elite requirements. Now, what they try to do to kind of help out a little bit is that they are going to give an elite jumpstart to existing status holders, depending upon what status you have. So if you are a Premier Silver, you'll get 300 PQPs to start 2025, Gold, 600 PQPs, Premier Platinum, 900 PQPs, and if you're Premier 1K, you'll get 1,400 PQPs that'll be available. You'll also have an option for people that are Platinum and 1K status. You'll also have new additional plus point redemptions. Now, these are new options for those two status levels where they can either be PQPs or PQFs. You can be able to gift Premier status to other members. You'll get travel bank cash or bonus miles. We also, the one other plus we're going to see as far as better value on our credit card spending to earn our way. Right now, most Chase United credit cards can earn 25 PQPs for every $500 you spend. That's going to change in 2025. So what we're going to see is on the two biggest, more expensive cards, the United Club Infinite and the United Club Business, you'll actually earn 1 PQP for every $15 spent. And then you'll also see that the PQP earnings maximum changes. For the United Club Infinite, that cap was normally at 10,000 PQPs. that now moves up to 15,000. But the biggest one is if you have a United Club business, and I don't even know how they even did this before, the cap was only 1,000 PQPs that were available for you to be able to get. Now that moves all the way up to 15,000. And then United Quest, you're looking at being able to go from to 9K as a cap versus 6K. And I see that Yuri on the Business Club. Yep, the United Club Business is having that huge jump for at least the cap on PQP earnings being jumped up from that $1,000 cap. I'm sorry, dollar 1,000 PQP cap to 15,000. So that is what's supposed to occur in 2025. And then we're also seeing on the credit card, additional credit card spending, this whole list of the other, basically all other credit cards that are involved, including First Hawaiian Bank United and First Hawaiian Bank United World Elite Business. This is now going to change from where it was $500 to get 25 PQPs. You now can get one PQP for every $20 spent. So it was originally $500 or nothing. So it was 0 or 25. Now you can earn $20, get a PQP for every $20 you spend as you go along the way. So you can get $480. So that's it's a nice benefit for people that may not hit these 500 levels to still be able to get points. So that is what we're going to see out of the United Mileage Plus program in 2025. So if you're a person that is don't see any gateway, though, you're correct. This gateway, I'm not a huge United person, so this is definitely the exhaustive list of everything that is going to be involved for 2025 for there. So I definitely did not see gateway listed, and I did check a couple of places to make sure of that because I know a lot of people do have the gateway card. So you're correct. There is not any changes for it. And I didn't actually know off for sure if the gateway even generated PQPs. I didn't know if it did. But if someone is a much better United person than I am, let me know. But it's definitely, if there is, there's nothing changing. But I didn't think they earned them, but I will claim ignorance if I'm wrong on that. But that's what we're looking at with United for that. So now let's look at Virgin as far as going to dynamic pricing. We've talked about this happening, so we knew this was on the horizon. These changes happened to the Flying Club program starting on the 30th. And Virgin promised that there would be new opportunities to earn and redeem points. And the press release from Virgin said that Flying Club members will be able to use points to pay for any seat on the plane on any date. The price, of course, of the seat will vary in line with demand in a similar way to standard tickets. So let's touch briefly on these thoughts of what's going on. So the award availability. Since 2022, the Virgin Guaranteed Availability System made 12 seats available for awards on each flight. Now every seat can be done with points, which is really nice for that. I know that if you're a person like I am that starts hunting around and you're always concerned about what availability, where a lot of times you don't even see that many seats being available. Now, obviously, it's going to be dynamic, so that is the downside. But hunting around, you might be able to see some things, and I'll tell you a little bit of what I saw looking at this yesterday. Then you can the locking of prices. So under the new Saver Reward Seat product, it will lock the award pricing on a select number of award seats at the pre-dynamic pricing. Now, there's no promise of how many seats that is, if it's going to be based on a ratio between economy and upper class or what it may be. So that's something that's going to have to evolve that we see. And then as far as companion and upgrade vouchers, you will now be able to use the vouchers on any cabin regardless of status, which is different. But status will determine the maximum value of a voucher. So if you're flying Club Red, 75,000 miles is the cap. And if it's flying Club Silver and Gold, it's 150,000 points. Now, what I ended up looking at yesterday was going on to Virgin, and once if you go log into your account and you go to their reward tool, it is focused specifically on if you're flying to Europe, essentially. But if you, yeah, I clicked in there to see what a flight would look like from Dulles, IAD, to London. They had ones in August of next year, which is the summer and normally high price time. I was able to still find some ones that were marked, and they'll mark it clearly with a little red tag, where it was their Saver Awards, and there were a few that were still being able to fly in the upper level in the 20, 28, 29. I'm sorry, 29,000. Now it did go higher, went from 29,000. I saw some at 55,000 points and higher. But for right now, there are still some spots where you could get some good value. Also, the taxes within the surcharges, which are super high to be able to fly any of the British metal, Virgin or British Airways flying into London, you normally pay a super high number. The numbers I was seeing was lower, $250, $300. And right now, obviously, you still got different offers for transfer bonuses. So it's going to require more hunting, but there may be some sweet spots that you're able to find, but we may see how that goes up or down over time. So we don't really know what the dynamic pricing is going to look like. But for now, we are still seeing that there are some opportunities there that you may want to consider with Virgin, but you do have to put some time in. I can't deny that. So that's kind of the things that I'm kind of looking at, and I will make sure to have the links that I've mentioned, and definitely the Amtrak one for Fashion Forward, making sure that's all in the description, and to make sure that I'll also have some links for some credit cards if you have an interest in them. Started doing affiliate links today, so it's a new thing for me. But the main thing on anything that I might put in for affiliate links, make sure it is the right number for you. So I'll automatically say that I always talk about when it comes to the American Express Gold and Platinum, that stuff bounces around so much, and you can find better deals going through incognito. So I wouldn't expect you to do anything with links related to that. But those Hilton ones should be the same in other ones. So it helps out the channel. If it's something that works out for you, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. It's going to be fine. So want to make sure if there's any other questions. I know there were a couple that we had as we went along, but want to make sure to cover anything. I say, Yuri, if they make no fee cancellations, it may be worth it, like American Airlines did. And American Airlines dynamic pricing is actually better than when it was fixed. Now that's interesting. I've not flown American a whole lot, so I didn't actually even deal with American Airlines when it was fixed pricing. So I appreciate the insight on that, Yuri. It was something that always the beautiful thing about the community and such. Everybody being able to learn and share off of things. Air France on Virgin is good sometimes. The Virgin thing, and because I'm such a big Delta fan, I've definitely used Virgin a few times and done the hunt for them. And that becomes the whole thing about transfer partners, being able to know the right ones to be able to do something with to make some things work. So, but that kind of wraps up the news for today. Can't thank you all enough for taking the time to hang out with me on this Halloween. And we'll look forward to seeing you again next week. Make sure if there's any questions or thoughts or concerns, make sure to put them in the comment section. I always make sure to respond to everybody's comments on that. And as well as if there's anything that's going on, definitely let me know. Always like to share with information. I want to say, Ian, thanks so much for stopping through, sir. I'll make sure to put the chapters for this in right after the show. And can't thank you enough for being able to spend your time with me tonight, and look forward to seeing you soon.